Today on the Jesuit Post, we have Sara Brabec, who did the Camino de Santiago a year ago. Sara, thanks so much for joining us today. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Doing great, thanks. So you did the last section of the Camino, you said, starting in Leon and ending up in
hmm
Santiago. About
Yeah.
how long did that take you?
It took me 13 days.
Now, people have a lot of different reasons for doing the Camino, some religious, some not. Why did you do the Camino?
Yeah, my one of my best friends and roommates in college had found out about it through something I don't remember, and she sent me an email one night that was a link and just like a line that said like we are doing this. And so from that point on, I kind of had it in my mind as like something I would I would do at some point, and I don't know that I knew much about what it would be. Like I wanted it to be something prayerful and adventurous and fun, and yeah, so those were all the reasons. Like those are the practical reasons I was doing it, and then it ended up just like working out really really well for where I was.
So, a lot of people nowadays talk about their spiritual life in journey language. They tend to say, I chose this path a long time ago and I still feel good walking this path. And they use the language of search as much as they use the language of finding or discovery or arrival. Does this resonate with you? Would you describe your own spiritual life in these terms at all?
Yeah, yeah, and I, like in a way, like the Camino was kind of illuminating, like like illuminated a part of that I hadn't necessarily been so aware of. Without a doubt, the best part of the Camino was the going, like the being along the way, and like the final few days of getting to Santiago and like then being in Santiago was almost a letdown because it was just like, okay, well, like we're here and okay, but the building of community and the alone time and the walking and the mountains and the hills and the conversations along the way were what had the most substance. That kind of traveling and being en route was definitely the best part for me. And I guess that kind of relates to that language of search and looking, and that was a common thing of like when you're walking with someone along the Camino, a lot of people would say like, well, like I think that life has to be more meaningful than how I'm experiencing it, hoping that like getting in touch with that somehow would help them and like help us together. And so it was really cool. And like people who are religious, not religious, some Catholic, some not, all across the board, really seeking it out to try to find a deeper sense of meaning.
So it sounds as if the journey impacted you more than the traditional goal, which is Santiago itself.
Yeah, yeah.
So looking back on it now, a year later, how would you say that the Camino impacted you the most?
It's connected to that sense of being along the way and of encountering God in the day-to-day of this journey. And so being more attuned to like the conversations and the meals and less concerned about whatever end goal there is. Really being attentive to the formation that's going on in the present moment and in the journey.
Yeah, we live in a very goal-oriented culture, right?
Yeah.
We sort of judge ourselves by the goals that we achieve. And I think that the Camino might be a way that people are rediscovering the value of the process, the value of walking, the value of getting there rather than the value of being there. You know what I mean?
Yeah. 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 No, absolutely.
Well, Sara, thanks so much for joining us. It sounds like you had a wonderful trip and that you would definitely recommend it to others.
Absolutely. Yeah. Walk the Camino for sure.
Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Jay.